you say when love goes away.
That doesn't work. This heads-up display doesn't work. Watch what happens when I pull up the backup camera. Yes. Check engine light is on, only 7,000 miles. Manual seats in a $172,000 car.
What the
Not be the only one with a 2025 Ram 1500 that is an absolute lemon.
The 2025 Dodge Ram pickup is a piece of junk.
Modern trucks cost more than some houses now, yet somehow they're falling apart faster than the ones your grandpa bought for cash. Rusting frames, engines quitting before the warranties even dry, transmissions dying before the truck's even broken in. So today, we're reacting to the owners actually living this nightmare. Let's get into it. All right, listen to this one, because apparently GM's rust prevention strategy is just hoping really hard.
Got a Chevy with some rust on her. This is a 2025 with about 15,000 miles on it. Again, 2025, 15,000 miles on her. She's seen better days. It seems like the other manufacturers that paint their frame tend to do a little bit better. But she's still pretty freaking new. And if you don't know, GM, well, they use like a wax coating. Here you go. You can see getting down to bare metal. So that's just bare metal right there. It's not painted. And I don't know why GM does that, but you can see like our leaf spring. That's actually painted metal, and it's in a lot better shape than the frame that's surrounding it.
This is a known issue GM has written actual internal service bulletins about since 2013, telling dealers, hey, when the wax peels and it rusts, just scrub it and paint over it with rust-proofing paint, which is a real fix in the same way duct taping a check engine light is a real fix. Watch this next clip, though, because it gets so much worse.
And this is why I won't buy a new Silverado. Look at this. This is a 2017. With 60,000 miles. This is insane. This is insane. Look at this roof. Look at this. Look at the shack. And we're paying $70,000 for these trucks? Are these people crazy? Look at this. That's incredible. This is the frame. Almost a brand new Silverado. 60,000 miles. This dude parks this in his garage. There's no way. Look at that. Look at the shack. Look at this. What? Yeah, ain't gonna catch me buying one of these for 60 G's. Whoa.
70 grand for a truck, and the structural skeleton holding the whole thing together looks like a prop from a shipwreck documentary. All right, listen to this next guy.
Okay, GMC. My question is, why are you designing transmissions that only last 30,000 miles? Yeah, this truck is dog shit. For 100 grand, you get this GMC Denali, and it's gonna break down. Just a heads up to everyone else that are buying these pieces of garbage.
30,000 miles, and it's done. Cooked. Finished. And speaking of things that shouldn't be blowing up, but keep blowing up, watch this next clip.
GM just announced the stop sale on all the 6.2 liters, and this made it to a whopping 12,000 miles, which is crazy. But I want you to take a listen to this. You can very slightly hear it knocking. Just at the bottom end. I wish I had a better microphone to put all the way in there. But when I say you need to run from the 6.2 liter, I tell you, you need to run. I am a huge GM fan. I've already owned 3 new Silverados on this platform generation of GM products, but I cannot recommend these things to anyone. 12,000 miles, and look at the plastic already. It's that scuffed up just getting in and out of the car. I get it, like you could say that's the owner's fault for scuffing the car and stuff like that. The cheap carpet, I mean, look at this. Like, It's literally like, this is what used to line the bottom of trunks. This is now the carpet throughout your whole car. And this isn't a $100,000 Cadillac. I guess the only good news is if you can afford one of these, I guess you can afford to be without a car for a little bit once the engine dies. But if it's not the 6.2 blowing, it's not the 5.3 dropping lift, it's not the 2.7 having total engine catastrophic engine failure, and it's not the diesel blowing up on itself too, what engine does GM make that's worth anything anymore? You literally have to go to a 2500 and get the 6.6.
Connecting rods and crankshafts just deciding to quit, knocking noises so bad that GM's own advice is basically, if you hear that sound, pray. And internal complaints show over 14,000 people reported their truck just lost power mid-drive on the highway, which is a fun surprise to have at 70 miles an hour. But don't worry, it gets better, because next up we've got the 2.7 four-cylinder Silverado.
I bought a full-size pickup truck with a 4-cylinder engine, and this is why. Yeah, so this full-size pickup truck with the topper is a 4-cylinder pickup truck. Don't you love being wrong? This is absolutely crazy to me. So here's a 2025 Silverado with the 4-cylinder 2.7, catastrophic engine failure at 6,000 miles. Catastrophic. And the fact that it's easier to drop the whole truck on its frame for the engine to get removed than pulling it out of the top is just crazy to me.
Catastrophic engine failure at 6,000 miles. And I want you to really sit with that number, because 6,000 miles is barely enough to break in a good pair of shoes, let alone an entire drivetrain. And the diesel's not off the hook either.
And then here's now the diesel, right? That's why I also said the diesel was a bad idea, because you have to do the timing belt in the back. Like, why did you put a rubber belt on the oil pump in the back of the engine so you have to remove the transmission? And if that wasn't bad enough, you got the rod bearing failure on the 6.2 liter. It's like, does GM have one good engine? Because then even the 5.3 has lifter failure issues. So if it's not the two, like, which one of their engines is not going to blow up on you? It's just crazy.
Fixing the oil pump means pulling the transmission, because apparently GM's engineering philosophy is, why make it accessible when we can make it a whole home renovation? Then watch this next clip.
Hey y'all, I just want to show you something before you think about buying one of these pile of shits. I don't know if you can see in here very well. Stupid camera won't focus. You see that? This, look at this shit. Yeah, this whole turbo blow-by crap starts leaking oil right here, and it gets down, drips down on the exhaust, and it fucking burns and smells awful. The inside of these pipes, same thing, completely coated in oil. Completely coated. This entire intercooler, inside of it, I can't imagine what it looks like because I can't see it, but it's disgusting. There's oil down there, you can see where it's been going. There was also a little bit of moisture. I don't know where the hell the moisture came from, but yeah, this truck has 74,000 miles on it, and it's been doing this since I bought it. And you know, I tried to put an oil catch kit on it. That didn't stop anything. So I just don't know what else to do other than to get rid of this pile of shit. It's sad. It's really sad. It's a good looking truck, you know. It's a good looking truck. It's got a 10-speed transmission. You know, I love a truck to death, but this is just ridiculous. Anyways, just thought I'd share.
He's basically narrating a crime scene at this point. Here's a Jeep Gladiator with a full engine replacement over a single bad cylinder, because apparently that's just how GM and Stellantis do warranty work now. Not a repair, a whole transplant.
This 2024 Jeep Gladiator came in for a misfire, had a cylinder 1 misfire, P031 code. After following the diagnostic procedure, I narrowed it down to be a mechanical fault inside the engine itself. The oil rings weren't wiping away the oil properly. It would leave oil residue inside the cylinder, cause the spark plug to get really fouled up. This is a good spark plug versus the bad spark plug. You can see requires an engine replacement. After speaking with engineering, they advised me to go ahead and replace the long block assembly to prevent any further comebacks. It requires transfer of all the components, disassembly the entire engine compartment. So we're in the process of doing that right now.
Listen to this one, because this is where it stops being funny and starts being genuinely terrifying. And what's wild is this isn't some rare fluke. The internet's full of these exact misfire codes on the new Hurricane engine. Dealerships have been told there's simply no fix yet. Techs are swapping parts at random, hoping something sticks, and there's reportedly a class action lawsuit brewing over the whole platform.
Incoming rant, this is your warning. I cannot be the only one with a 2025 Ram 1500 that is an absolute lemon. It's had the check engine light on and off since it was at 500 miles for misfiring codes. It has broken down on me twice. It's been in the shop 3 times. The last time that it was in the shop, it was there for 21 days. It had 3 faulty fuel injectors replaced, and they still couldn't fix it. They still couldn't stop it from misfiring. Ram Engineering basically told them that they didn't have a fix for it and to just give it back to me. So it gets stuck in the wrong gear. It doesn't shift. It doesn't respond when I press the accelerator. So if I'm making like a left turn into busy traffic, I am literally like doing the sign of the cross, because there is a really good chance that I'm not going to make it. I've had several close calls. It is terrifying to have your gas pedal to the floor and have your truck literally just not moving. So what prompted this rage video that I'm recording right now is my backup camera is now a blue screen. Thank God we only leased it and we didn't buy it. But the reason why we leased it and not buy a used truck was because we wanted a reliable family vehicle.
Do not buy a 2025 Ram pickup until you watch this video. The 2025 Dodge Ram pickup is a piece of junk. Chrysler abandoned the standard V8 engine for the 2025 models and went with a 3-liter straight-six twin-turbo engine. The high-output engine requires premium gasoline, $20 more per tank. They did not tell me that when I bought it. I bought this $80,000 pickup right off the showroom floor in August of 2024. It was in and out of the shop until October of 2024. The problem? Check engine light and the engine misfire codes. The dealership technicians could not diagnose and fix the problem. After several weeks, they entered the truck into the Chrysler Star program. The Chrysler Star program is a technical assistance program for Chrysler vehicles, which essentially sends the vehicle back to the Chrysler engineers to diagnose and fix the problem. My truck was purchased August 7th, 2024, was mostly in the shop until October 16th, 2024, and back into the shop for the engine light from January 28th to February 10th, 2025. I finally hired an attorney and filed for a claim settlement, which Chrysler denied. Please do not fall into this mess.
This is a Dodge Ram 1500 Classic Warlock 2022. So as you can see, the cluster is on, all the lights. Right now I'm gonna close the door. I'm gonna close with my remote, and this is not the first time. I bought this car new, and I read like 5 or 6 or probably 7 times. They replaced the battery like 3 times already, because they said there was a problem with the battery. Because I said, well, it was dead in the morning, but then I noticed this. So the lights won't come off. And it's gonna last right now the whole night. And of course, in the morning the battery is dead. But what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna disconnect the battery. But do you guys know what is the problem? Because obviously they didn't fix it. I've been at the dealer like 3 times already, and all they did is replacing the battery. And they said like stupid stuff like, oh, because we put different batteries right now because of the ecology or something. And then they wanted to replace something like the door latch or something, but that's not the problem. Obviously that's not a problem. So let me know what you guys think, and
the dealership's answer 3 separate times was just, here's a new battery, like they're treating an electrical gremlin with a Band-Aid. And this exact issue is genuinely all over Ram owner forums, where guys have spent months and literally replaced entire wiring harnesses and computer modules chasing a phantom drain that somehow doesn't show up until 3 a.m. specifically to ruin your morning. All right, shifting over to build quality, and listen to this Gladiator owner.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm sitting in my 2020 Jeep Gladiator, and I know, it's a Jeep. But let me just show you some of these things that make total sense with my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I especially love this feature. The broken sun visor. The redesigned dashboard, really nice. Except the fact that they had to take it apart a couple times because our power mirrors stopped working. I especially love the side door pockets that you can't put anything heavier than a feather in. What the hell? And this new paint feature that I just recently discovered. We have discoloration around the hinges and rust forming. More rust. And I know this one is not technically related to the car, but these broken key fobs. It doesn't want to stay down. It'll just continually pop out over and over again. That's about as far as we can get it in. That's what she said. But yeah, they don't make cars like they used to. The interiors are cheaper. Like, they focus so much on the technology that they're missing out on other stuff. But thankfully, we have not had many mechanical issues, and we've only had 1 recall, and that was for a software update. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to get the other stuff addressed under warranty and get it all taken care of.